every record leading up to this has always had at least one song where I was like not fully on board with and kind of coaxed into or told, well, no, that trust me, that song's going to be a big hit. And in retrospect, there are songs that didn't really feel like I had any kind of emotional connection.
What's up, everyone? Victoria here with PopCulture.com, and today I am very excited to be talking to the amazing Chris Daughtry. Chris, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Victoria. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Of course. Well, listen, I was just telling you, I've seen you come in our studio, and we've done interviews with you before. I just have never been the one that had the pleasure of speaking with you. So today is
and now we're doing it across country.
I know.
Yeah.
Across the US. I'm in the rainy weather, you're in the sunny weather. Good for you.
Yeah.
Listen, before we dive in, there's a lot of exciting news to cover today. But before we get to all of that, I know last year was such a doozy for everyone. This year, still kind of a doozy for everyone.
Yeah.
But I want to check in with you. How are you this year?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. It was, I think the silver lining was, it was a very introspective time for me. And I think it kind of, I'm so used to being on the road. I didn't have that to run to. I didn't have, couldn't escape reality. I couldn't escape things that kind of came up within me that I needed to deal with personally. And I think it became a very cathartic, transformative time in a way for me. And certainly that all made it into the music. It was kind of like therapy.
Yeah, I love
my therapist wasn't taking clients because of COVID, so I had to do it myself.
Yeah. Listen, music is a great way to get some things off your chest, right? I wish I was musically gifted. I did play piano growing up, but nowhere near where you're at. So, listen, your new album, Dearly Beloved, is set to drop on September 17th. What makes this album so different from the rest?
Oh my God, I think everything. One, it's the first record that I've done independently without a major record label. And with that comes a lot of freedom. It also comes with a lot of responsibility. And, I picked the right team to produce the record, Scott Stevens and Marty Fredrickson, and they fully, embraced my vision and were able to see it come to fruition. And I was involved every step of the way, annoyingly so, probably to them. But with the mixing, with the mastering, I was like, no, it's got to be like this. I'm like, we're the professionals here. Yeah. But it was the first time that I was this hands-on, and I've always been hands-on with the writing, but this was different. This, I didn't have all these different voices telling me, well, in order to get on the radio, you need to be sounding like this, or you need to be seeing what this band's doing. I kind of shut all that out and listened to the most important voice, which was my own. Mm-hmm. And I think not being on tour certainly helped me to hear that more. Yeah. And not being able to escape and get into, all the craziness of road life. I was able to kind of sit with myself and really cultivate a vision. Whereas before, I think I kind of was hearing a lot of other people's visions at times and thought they were my own. But this was a very, very, very different record indeed.
Well, you started your own label, and I'm sure that helped the process because having full control. I'm glad that you brought this up because I wanted to touch on this today. You're not the first artist that I've spoken with that broke away from a label and felt this sense of freedom. And I commend you for that. And this is a really exciting time for you guys. You mentioned that it comes with a lot of freedom, but it also comes with its own challenges, right?
Yeah.
But I want to sit and relish in for just a second on the freedom part of that. Like, talk about the way that this feels, because, you know, your start in this industry, you know, you've been so successful since your Idol days, and you guys have just been such a fan favorite. And now you have full control over your music, how it's released, like all the pieces to the puzzle. Tell me how that just feels.
You know, I think every record leading up to this has always had at least one song where I was like not fully on board with and kind of coaxed into or told, well, no, that, trust me, that song's going to be a big hit. And in retrospect, there are songs that didn't really feel like I had any kind of emotional connection. And in some ways, it kind of taints that process. It kind of puts a stain on an otherwise perfect record, in my opinion. And this record doesn't have that. From top to bottom, it's something that I would be very proud of seeing myself perform, because I would believe every bit of it. And that's something that, you know, every record that's come out, I stand behind. You know, it's not to say that I regret doing this record or that record, or those don't matter anymore. It's more the retrospect, right? It's in hindsight, like, oh, you know, there were certain songs. There's a reason why we didn't play those, because I didn't really, you know, feel this real connection to it. And this feels so real and so honest that it wasn't about, we got to write a radio song. We got to write, we need a up tempo for, you know, for this format or whatever. This is what came out. And there was a couple songs I remember working on that I wrote, you know, at my house, you know, before we even started working on the record, that I believed in, Lioness being one of them. And it's not this typical format, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out, you know, there's your formula for a hit song. It was very different. And I remember saying, no, that's exactly how this song has to be. It's a journey. It's how it came out. And it's become a fan favorite already. And I just had to really trust my intuition with this record. And I think with that, despite what it does chart wise or sales wise, it's something that I can stand behind 100%.
Getting down and back to the basics is, I think, a good reminder for all of us to just take away all of like the noise and just do what makes us happy. That's really important. So, and it sounds like that's what you did with this, and that's absolutely incredible.
I think when I originally approached this record and I was able to step away from all the voices and all the noise, and I was like, what kind of record do I want to make? And I started listening to albums that got me excited as a teenager, you know, like Soundgarden, Super Unknown, Bad Motorfinger, and Live, Throwing Copper, and Alice in Chains. You know, the records that were essentially my school, you know, and on how I learned to sing and write music. Those were the records that made me want to do this anyway. And I started listening to those, and it made me feel like, oh my God, I'm excited about music again. Like, I feel this makes me feel alive. Why am I not doing this type of record? Like, this is what made me want to do this to begin with. And that's kind of how I approached it.
Oh, I love that. Well, listen, numbers show, because let's see, you guys are the third highest streaming rock band on the charts right now in the US, making this your best year on the charts since 2010.
I mean, you said it.
I'm just saying, maybe we did something right.
And that's the irony. When I stopped paying attention to the charts, it actually happened, you know?
Isn't it funny how that works?
Yeah.
That's incredible, Chris. That makes me so excited.
Thank you so much.
Listen, tell me about the what's the meaning behind Dearly Beloved? Because that's going to be the title of your album.
You know, that song, I originally wrote this song. I wrote it with my guitar player, Brian Craddock, and a fellow Nashvilleian, Mark Holman, who's had tons of success in the songwriting world. And we wrote it for Cage to Rattle, our last record. And it was my favorite song on the record, did not make the record. And every now and then we'll go back and listen to songs that didn't make it and see if they still hold up, you know, lyrically, if it still resonates or if it was just a moment in time. And I remember listening to this one day on a plane and pre-pandemic, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, this lyrically feels more relevant now than it did when we wrote it. And so I was like, we gotta include this in the bunch to record. But then it started really speaking, and I was like, this is the album title, and I feel like it's a love letter to the fans. It's like it's addressing them, like, here's the record you've been expecting from us, and this is the record that we've wanted to make for a very long time. So it felt like the apropos title.
Oh, that's incredible. I love the meaning behind that. Listen, this has nothing to do with your music. I just want to like applaud you for a second. I was scoping through your Instagram and you have a recent post of you working out and it looks like you're singing in the camera. But your caption is what caught my eye. This has been a really tough 2 years for everyone. And I don't want to sit too much on that, but what I loved in your message was that you kind of reminded fans the importance of kindness. It's amazing. Well, it's not amazing. It's shocking that I feel like kindness has been thrown out the door. You know, I think that we
out the door.
Like we just expect to all agree with everyone. And then we get mad when somebody doesn't agree with us. And I think we're just forgetting that, like, hey, let's just be kind for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where that can get us. What inspired you to post something like that? Because I feel like a lot of your posts are very encouraging.
I feel like masks became the new, you know, computer screen. Like you're behind this thing, and you feel like you don't have to be a good human being anymore. I don't know. Like I started noticing things like it's something as simple as I would go to Starbucks and every barista's always been like, you know, super happy, you know, like every time. And I remember one day asking for something to carry my drink. And then once again, oh, sorry, can I get a straw? And it was like, I told them they were the worst human being ever. And to go, you know, they were like, oh, and I'm like, what is even happening here? And like people in traffic, I just started noticing little things and it started to build up. And I remember taking that photo or whatever, but I'm like, there's more to this. This isn't about like, you know, yes, I'm trying to take care of myself, but it's an opportunity to get people's attention and probably, you know, express something way more important, which is just, we're still human beings. We're all, you don't have a clue what that person's going through. They could have just been told they have 2 weeks to live, you know, and you're going to flip them off because, you know, they weren't paying attention, you know, because they're in a daze and they're thinking about, you know, everything else that's more important in their life. You know, I don't know. It was just kind of a reminder that, and I'm guilty of it myself, of, oh my God, can you speed up, please?
Yeah.
You know, and go, you know, I have to kind of pump the brakes myself and go, you know what? None of us know what the next person's going through. And it was more, it's kind of a reminder to myself to, you know, hey, we need to be kind to one another. Just something as simple as holding the door for someone or saying thank you when they did it and not just walk through it because you have a mask and you don't feel like you have to face them. It's, you know, it's a reminder to myself, but hopefully to others as well.
Well, I loved that message and I just had to bring it up because
Thank you.
We need more kindness in the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Before I let you go, Chris, what's next for you? It sounds like you guys have some pretty exciting things in store.
Well, we start our tour in November and the Ryman is on the 3rd. So that's our second date.
Have to go.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I was going to say you have to, like, it's mandatory.
Absolutely. I'm still a Nashvilleian. Here I am.
Absolutely. We're very excited about that. We've got about a year and a half of pent up energy that we're ready to unleash on stage. So we're very excited. I will say this also about the new record. Another fellow Nashvillian, my dear friend Sinclair, provided her beautiful backing vocals on a song that I actually wrote with my wife on this record called Call You Mine. And I cannot wait for everyone to hear it because it's so hauntingly beautiful. And it's definitely one of the most moving songs on the record.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for your fans to hear it. Chris, you have been so phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Time.
Thank you, Victoria.
For more on Chris Daughtry and your other favorite celebrities, make sure you keep it right here at popculture.com.